Yo, what is up guys? Grim here, and today we're going to be covering our first Atlas strategy. And the strategy we're going to be going over today is Graveyard. So Graveyard is a very good beginner map. It's very ideal for people who don't have a ton of time to commit to farming high ticket kind of divination cards like the Doctor or King's Heart or anything like that. So if you just got like 10 maps to do and you just want to make a bit of chaos, like 10 or 20 or 30 chaos to like kind of mess around with, this is definitely going to be a pretty good strategy for you. So, what kind of builds are going to go well on Graveyard? So, any build that is projectile based or perhaps uses shield charge to get around is going to do very well. Builds that don't do too well are going to be like Cyclone, Cosprey Discharge, anything that needs tight enclosed spaces isn't going to do the best in here. Things like Freeze Pulse, EK Nova, Spark, all of the bow abilities, even Kinetic Blast and stuff like that will do very well here, and you're going to have a blast. So, with that covered, how consistent is the money making going to be, and what are the big ticket items? So, to begin with, Graveyard has 3 bosses in it, and they're very, very easy to kill. And on top of that, they're next to a wall. So, it makes skills which require walls and stuff like that, like Kinetic Blast, very effective at killing the boss instantaneously if you don't have too much damage. Meaning it's a great thing to get started on if you don't have too much gear. So, with 3 bosses, you're going to get triple the amount of unique drops, which a lot of people laugh at the boss loot in this game, but it's actually quite relevant. I've gotten a lot of very good uniques off bosses, and there's a massive more multiplier and loot on the boss. So, you're going to get a lot more loot in terms of the boss kill. And in addition to that, if you vial your map and make it corrupted, you're going to get triple the amount of sacrificial fragments from killing the boss. And I'll show you how much they're worth in just a second. But generally, 1 boss means like 1 to 0 sacrificial fragments. In Graveyard, you're going to get 3 chances at a sacrificial fragment. You'll notice I did a Midnight here, which is worth around 2 chaos. So, what this allows you to do is basically repay the vial value just with the sacrificial fragments and then some. In most cases, your sacrificial fragments, if you sell them correctly, are going to cover all of your sexton costs and the vial costs, which is pretty crazy. So, you get those things for free, basically, meaning all the rest of the stuff is profit, which is very, very good. So in addition to the sacrificial fragments and the additional boss loot, what else are you going to get? You're going to get a couple of divination cards, which I'm going to show you guys right now. The first one I want to show you guys is 3 Voices. So this divination card drops in any map which has 3 bosses in it, which Graveyard does, obviously. So not only are you getting the triple boss loot, you're also getting the triple frag drops, and now you're getting this very, very powerful divination card. So in terms of drop rates, this is going to drop pretty much once every map. Sometimes you'll get 2, sometimes you'll get 0, but every like 1 to 2 maps, you're going to get at least 1 to 2 of them, which is very consistent and it's very good. Obviously, if you introduce more players into the map and more sextants, you're going to have more. And just on that note, Graveyard is a fantastic map for groups. It's not hard to stay together at all. I'll go over that when I show you guys the layout. But yeah, very, very good map for groups, and this card makes it very, very worth it. So in terms of how you're going to use this card, I'll just go into it now. So when you get this card, it's going to give you 3 random essences. So if you have an essence tab, you'll be able to see, oh, look at all these essences. So unfortunately, it's not particularly random. The highest level of essence that I've ever gotten from this card is a Screaming Essence, and then you can get all the ones below that as well. So Screaming and below, and then obviously you can also get all of the corrupted essences here, which are worth big money. So you have this kind of gamble kind of situation where you can get these big essences which are worth like 23 chaos each, and you can get 3 of those, which is like almost an exalted worth of chaos there from this divination card. But you can also get these lower low value kind of essences, but not to worry. Once you get into the like kind of graveyard farming tactics, you can just combine all of these essences up by 3 to 1ing them either on a vendor, or if you have the essence tab, you can just click upgrade and upgrade them here. But if you're not sure how to, oops, I just upgraded those. If you're not sure how to do that, you can just grab 3 of these bad boys out and vendor them to a vendor, and you'll get the next level up here. So what is the purpose of this? When you get all your essences together after a farming session, I highly recommend upgrading all your essences to Shrieking Essences. And the reason for this is because these are the ones which sell the best. So when you finish up your farming session and you've got all your essences in your tab here from your graveyards, and you've handed them all in and all that kind of stuff, What you want to do to sell them is, if you don't have an Essence Stash tab, you can just do this in a different tab. But if you do have an Essence Stash tab, set this thing to public, and then jump over onto PoE Ninja, which we have here. Type in, or go to the Essences tab, type in Shrieking, and you can see the prices of all the essences here. So at the end of the session, you're probably going to have like at least 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe even 10 or 12 Shrieking essences for your average player, hopefully. And you can see some of these are worth quite a lot of money. So Greed is worth the most here. And what I do is I just go through and I'm like, okay, so Shrieking Essence of Greed, you're going to go into your Essence tab here. I don't have any of those, but if I had Contempt, you can set the exact price to whatever it is, like so it's 4, and people will buy these off you fairly quickly. You'll make probably like 20, 30, 40, 50 chaos off a session of just from essences alone if you did 20 or 30 maps, which is very, very effective if you're trying to make a bit of currency. So that's going to recoup a lot of your costs and stuff like that. On top of the sacrificial fragments, you're going to be making a lot of currency. Same with sacrificial fragments. You can sell these for quite a little bit. I've been selling all of mine for about 1 to 2 chaos. I sell my noons for 2 chaos, my midnights for 2 chaos, and my dusks and dawns for 1 chaos each. And I sell these in bulk constantly. You'll be getting quite a lot of money from those. And just to top it off, when you roll the double boss mod on maps, you won't just get 3 bosses which can drop fragments, you'll get 6. And in that case, sometimes you can get 6 fragments off that. And if you got like a midnight and a couple of dusks and dawns, hey, maybe that's like 7 or 8 chaos right there, which is a lot of currency for a lot of new players. So that's going to be the 3 voices card, how you can utilize it, and all that good stuff. So just upgrade them to Shriekings and you'll be able to sell them just fine. Make sure you check that your prices on PoE Trade so you get them right. Moving on, the next card which I want to talk about is the Union. So this card is for Gem Cutter Prisms. So this card, unlike 3 Voices, is a little bit more rare. You'll probably get this every 2 to 3 maps, maybe 4 to 5 maps if you're really unlucky. Obviously, it depends on how much quantity gear you're wearing and how much party members you have, and obviously sections and stuff like that. But this card is worth over a chaos just by itself. You can see here 7 cards gets you 10 Gem Cutter Prisms, and currently the price of Gem Cutter Prisms is over a chaos orb. So right now you can trade like 36 Gem Cutter Prisms for 37 chaos, meaning that it's very, very worth it to get this divination card. So maybe you trade it just 1-to-1 here, but yeah, that's up to you. So obviously you're going to be making over a chaos in this card because you get 7 to 10, and that's going to be a nice little bit of money on top of the essences. So now you have the fragments, essences, and the divination card for Gem Cutter Prisms all in one map, which is very, very good. And then the last one I wanted to show you guys here is Hope. This one is pretty insignificant, but it might earn you like 2 or 3, 4, maybe even 5 chaos every time you like hand it in. This one is quite a lot more rare than the other 2, but it will drop there and you guys can pick it up. And when you hand in 5, you can either get a Laurie's Lantern or a Thief's Torment out of this card, and it will be corrupted. So with the new corrupted implicits, you might get a very, very powerful ring, which could be worth quite a lot of currency. But at worst case, you can just save the ring and use it for a Lore Weave, which is going to make it worth about 2 or 3 chaos. Or if it's a Thief's Torment, you can sell it for 4 to 5 chaos, or maybe even more depending on when you're watching this video. So that's going to be very, very good for you. That's all the divination cards, and we'll move on to the next part of the video. So I wanted to run a quick map and show you guys kind of what it looked like and how to run it most efficiently, in my opinion. So we're playing Tornado Shot here. We're just going to run through the map real quick, and I'll kind of direct you. So when you spawn into the map, I highly recommend that you'll always spawn into this kind of cathedral area here. And the first thing I do when I'm in the map is I'm going to run straight to the edge and try and find kind of the edge of the map. And the reason for that is because the best way to run this map, in my opinion, is to go around the edges. And you'll see why in a second. So we're going to breach here, we'll pop that. It's not too bad. Got some splinters here we're getting, which is pretty nice. Quite a bit of loot here. See if we can get any of these divination cards as well. But yeah, after this breach, I'll show you guys the rest of the map and how I like to run it. Just a bit unfortunate we got a breach here. There's our first 3 voices cards. As you can see, fairly common. You'll be getting quite a lot of these and a lot of essences, and it's pretty fun to hand those in. You'll be getting a bit of excitement when you try and get those really high ticket essences, which is pretty fun. So we'll just run away from that breach now. It's taking a bit long. But yeah, so you want to follow the essences. There's another 3 voices card. Sorry, follow the corners here. We'll skip Alva just for this. and you'll find that you actually fill out most of the map. So once you find the boss room, you want to head straight in. The boss will always be in the corner over here. Kill him. There's our first sack frag, which is pretty nice. That's a chaos there as well. So we can just run around the edges a little bit more here. And the map will always be pretty similar, which is pretty nice. So we're just running around here. See if we can get a Union card as well, which would be pretty nice to show off. That'll be another chaos. Just a bit of loot over here. But yeah, you get the idea here, guys. So now that we've run around all the edges, see, you can hear we've got 2 monsters remaining. Now this won't always be the case, and you may have to fill in this middle part here. But that's not too bad. So as you can see here, pretty fast map. You can get quite a bit of currency out of that. We'll go over that right now. So what do we get? We got 2 voices cards. We got, like, obviously these don't count. We got three chaos there, 4. We'll count that as a chaos. That's 5. So about 5.5, 6 chaos there, just from running that map. And all we spent is a Alk and a Val on that. So you can see here, you're going to be making quite a bit of currency off the layout, and it's quite a nice one. So now let's get into how you're going to be able to run these infinitely and sustain them. So I've got here a bit of an atlas here. So it doesn't need to look exactly like this, guys, but it will help to follow these rules kind of generally. So here is the map over here in the corner. And as you can see here, we have 3 different sextant locations we can put on it. So we have 2 whites, which is very good. White sextants are always cheaper than yellows. And we have a yellow sextant we can put on it over here. So a total of 3 sextants. That's going to mean that you need to unlock all the white maps and all the red maps. And then you're pretty much good to go for Graveyard, which isn't much of a problem. So this is going to allow you to run Shaper, which is very good, cool, flexible kind of thing. You can run Shaper, you can run Umbrella, all that kind of stuff using your Atlas. In addition to that, this kind of setup where you remove a lot of the yellows is very flexible. You can move into other strategies very easily, like Volcanoes and stuff like that. But yeah, so we've got 3 sextants here. To set this up to go infinite, what you want to remove is all the T6s and 7s. And then obviously shape up your Graveyard. Make sure you don't have a shaped T7 or anything like that, because that'll mess it up. And then you'll be more than ready to go infinite on Graveyard. You'll be getting tons of them. You will never run out. So what I would recommend is buying like 6 to 7, maybe 10 Graveyards to begin with, and then you should never run out of Graveyards from that point on. I know a lot of people are going to ask what kind of Atlas boons do I need to get started on this. I think anything over 60 to 70 will be good enough to start going on Graveyards. Obviously, the more and more you get, the more and more Graveyards you will have. But when I was doing this, I was sustaining about probably double the amount of maps I needed. So if I did 10, I'd get 20 back, and that was just fine. That was also without sextants. So that's going to be everything about Graveyard hopefully you guys need to know. In terms of rankings, is this the most profitable map? Probably not if you're running like 500 or 600, but if you're just planning on running like 10, 20 maps a day, this map might be the one for you because you can make some pretty consistent currency. As you could see in that map, I think I made probably about 4 or 5 chaos profit just in about like a minute maybe. So that's pretty average drops as well. Obviously the Union card is going to jack that up quite a bit. And if you get a double boss in there, you're going to go from like 5 or 6 chaos, maybe to like 10 chaos profit in a map, which is going to allow you to get a lot more currency. So obviously a little disclaimer here as well is check the economy before you start this off. If you notice that essences are really cheap for some reason, maybe this isn't the best strategy. If you notice sacrificial fragments are like half a chaos and a chaos for the expensive ones, that's going to make your profit a lot less, so maybe check that out. And obviously gem cutter prisms, if they're worth like for some reason like a half a chaos or something like that, your profit will also be cut into a little bit. So this is going to be the first strategy that I'm going to explain to you guys. There's a lot more coming. You can try this one out if you want, guys. Of course, obviously removing all of these yellows is going to take a bit of currency, but don't worry, all of these strategies, or most of them coming up, will use a similar setup. So removing these, you're pretty much going to be set to try a lot of the things which I'm going to be talking about coming up. So don't you worry about that, guys. It's definitely worth the investment removing these yellows. I would do it again in a heartbeat. I've made a lot of currency doing these kind of strats. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and if you like Graveyard, maybe throw it up an upvote to the video, and if it makes you a bit of money, maybe comment if you got quite a bit of currency out of it. Thanks for watching as always, guys. Look forward to the next one, and I'll see you guys then. Cheers.